Hey there, I'm DGW and welcome back to my channel. Today I want to take a dive into the anti-tank role. First of all, what makes it important and a potentially deciding factor in a team, but also, and perhaps even more, how to be as effective as possible as an anti-tank. Somebody who understands the role of an anti-tank and masters it can indeed be a deciding factor for his team. Tanks are pretty much one-man armies. Oh well, 3 men if the entire crew is complete, but the amount of destruction, devastation and havoc they can create on an attacking or defending force is phenomenal. Other than that, an anti-tank can play a vital part in destroying enemy supply lines, and if executed properly because of its flanking tactics as well as trying to get behind enemy lines to take out those tanks and other vehicles, can even make spawning and resource construction very difficult for the opponents. So, if you want to learn more about the anti-tank role and how to do it, stick around and we'll get into it. Before I start bothering you with all the information, tactics, strategy and effectiveness of this role, let me first ask you to leave a like if you like the video. Let me know in the comments what you think of it. If there's anything I missed, let me know as well. And it goes without saying that if you have any questions about the game, roles, tactics, strategy, just ask them in the comments and I'll make sure to answer them, and or somebody else in the community might already answer it for me. And if you like this video and any of the other videos I make, stick around by subscribing. If you do, let me know in the comments that you did. In any case, I will always make sure to respond to every comment. Now, let's get into the role of anti-tank. Before we start with any of the details and strategy, let's first take a look at the loadouts for both sides as well as the two different levels that there are. First up is your level 1 and level 2 anti-tank on the German side. It comes equipped with the standard rifle, which is the K98 with 12 ammunition clips. Carries 2 grenades, a medic pack and a shovel. Now you'd expect the shovel to be used to dig poop holes, but unfortunately at this point it's only being used for melee kills. On to the most important part of his equipment, the Panzerschreck. The Panzerschreck is a bit more powerful than the American bazooka, but you are at a slight disadvantage because you only have 2 rockets whereas the Americans have 4. Last part of his equipment is the wrench, which in the German case places the Pak 40, which is the German anti-tank gun. Now the Americans on the other hand have the standard rifle, which is the Garand, carrying 12 clips of 8 bullets. In my opinion, this places the Americans at an advantage because this is a much easier rifle to master, as such a larger rate of fire than the K98. It packs a smaller punch at range than the K98, but I'm too bad a shot for the K98 to be effective at all. Again, the American AT carries 2 grenades and a medic pack. For slicing and dicing up the enemies, you've got a knife instead of a shovel. The bazooka is the American equivalent of the Panzerschreck. It carries 4 rockets as said before instead of the 2 for the Germans. They are said to be less powerful, but in all honesty I've not noticed a real difference in the battles. And last but not least, the American wrench, which enables you to place the blueprint of a 57mm anti-tank gun. When your AT reaches level 3, you will have the option to select the ambusher role. Now its loadout is slightly different, so let's quickly take a look at those. The German ambusher has a MP40 instead of a K98, still has the Panzerschreck, so it's boomstick with 2 rockets, 2 grenades, still that same shovel, a medic pack, but trades in the wrench to build the anti-tank gun for 3 Telamine, which is the German anti-tank mines. Now the American side has a similar difference. The Thompson replaces the Garand. You still have a bazooka, but only 2 rounds this time. 2 grenades, a medic pack and a knife, but you trade in your wrench for 4 anti-tank mines. Now it is quite obvious that the primary goal of an anti-tank player is to seek out and destroy enemy tanks and other vehicles. But the anti-tank role can be a vital part in taking out enemy supply lines as well as enemy spawn points. An anti-tank rocket will take out an enemy garrison. So if you run into an enemy garrison and it might not be safe to approach it personally and take it down by holding F, firing a rocket at it will be very effective in taking it out. Now an AT rocket will also destroy tank repair stations, and these are a bit underrated when it comes to the importance of taking it down, but actually taking away the ability for an enemy tank to repair after it gets damaged can actually be just as vital as just taking it down, because that tank has to remove itself from the battlefield and thus cannot participate in the fighting. And as it comes for taking down enemy spawn points, whether that be garrisons or OPs, taking away the ability of the enemy to get into the battle, or at least get into the battle quickly, is much more important than racking up kills. Now, except for the strategic importance of this role, it is also a great way to rack up your XP. When it comes to XP that you can earn by destroying enemy vehicles, etc., I refer to the XP list that you see on screen, and if you want to take a longer look at that, I will have them available for download. Just find the link in the description below for it. Now, taking out an enemy tank, or truck for that matter, requires you to place your shots accurately. The quickest and most effective way of destroying an enemy tank is to shoot it from behind. But it is also important to make sure your shots don't bounce, and to do so, try to be as square to the tank as possible. Any shot below 45 or above 135 degrees will definitely bounce. Also, something to keep in mind is that your rockets have a limited range, and they are more effective the closer you are to your target. But in any case, if you have to take a relatively long shot, make sure you aim a bit higher. Even if you don't get a perfect hit, it will at least hit the target instead of falling short, because falling short is a complete waste of a shot. Same goes for a moving truck or tank. You will have to compensate for the movement of that vehicle by advancing the shot in front of it. Now, the Panzerschreck has a quicker drop rate than the American bazooka, so keep that in mind if you're at a distance. The best tactic is to get as close as you possibly can, without obviously blowing yourself up. Now, the larger tanks, like your Shermans, your Tigers and your Panzers, will need 2 relatively perfect shots in the back to destroy them.
Everyone keep their eyes out. Let's talk, see what you think.
The lighter tanks will be destroyed by 1 shot in the back or in its side. Hitting any tank in the front except for the recon tanks is a complete waste of your shot, because it will not do a lot of damage. However, that being said, if you have no other possibility than to attack it from the front, or you know you're gonna get killed in a few seconds, landing as many shots on that tank as you possibly can will be effective in helping another AT perhaps take it out in a single shot, or will force that tank to remove itself from the battlefield for repairs. In this case, you could say any shot is better than no shot at all. To take out enemy supply trucks or transport trucks, you have to make sure you hit it in the cabin, or engine for that matter. If you hit it in the backside of the truck, so the canopy or flatbed, you will need 2 shots to destroy it. Now, a stationary, unused truck of the enemy that's parked somewhere is cheap and easy XP, but I would recommend not to waste your shots, because you only have a few. Considering your relatively low amount of ammo when it comes to destroying things, in theory the best setup for an AT is to be flanked by several of his own squad and maybe other from the team. A squad leader can provide an overview of the battlefield and mark things for you, as well as be in touch with the command chat, and of course deploy a garrison or OP for quick access to the battlefield. And if you have a medic nearby, unless you get blown to bits, you can be revived. Now, perhaps the most important would actually be to have a support of a level 3 or higher, because they can place down explosive ammo crates, and so taking away the direct limitations of having only a few ammunitions. Now, if there is a possibility to have an assault nearby as well, he, in combination with the medic as well as the squad leader, can have a couple of smoke grenades to cover the field of view from the tank and other infantry perhaps protecting that tank, as well as providing you with quite a bit of cover fire. Now, if you have a chance to team up with another anti-tank, the 2 of you combined with the aforementioned roles can be a formidable team. Just as an example, instead of you having to reload your shot after you fire your first into the back of a tank, the other guy can fire that second shot and you can destroy an enemy tank, essentially with 1 shot. Also, I want to do a quick shout out to all support players out there that carry explosive ammunition. Drop your crates wherever you can. Try to spread them out throughout the map in defensive and attacking positions, so that the anti-tanks around can reload their supply. And when it comes to squad leaders, try and mark those enemy tanks so that anti-tanks know where to go. To approach an enemy tank, the best way to do it is to stay away from its front. Both the driver and the turret have a machine gun available and can literally cut you to pieces if they see you. To be able to get behind the tank, you will have to use any form of cover that you can, whether it be a smoke grenade from one of your teammates or the cover available on the map itself. Before you actually get out in the open, if you have to, make sure you're aware of your surroundings and there is no infantry that can take a single shot at you and destroy your ability to take down the tank. It's much more important to be effective in destroying that tank, or at least crippling that tank, than to just get shot before you can take any shot. With any role, flanking takes time, and you have to decide whether or not, if you run into enemy infantry and they haven't seen you, whether or not it's even worth taking a shot at them, because you will be giving away your position. Remember, even a dead soldier can still speak in this game. So my personal tactic is to stay away from engagements if I'm trying to flank, stay in cover as much as you can, take your time to make and plan your movements, and make sure to keep communicating with the rest of your squad, so they can mark whatever you call out and see, whether that's enemy nodes, enemy garrisons, spawns, fortifications they're building, whatever. Also important to keep in mind is that if you flank, make sure it's a relatively wide flank. Don't try to flank a objective or a tank or whatever in about 50 or 100 meters, because you're gonna get spotted most likely. Make sure your flank is 300-400 meters. It will take you time, but at least it's not gonna be a waste of time, because there's nothing more frustrating than you having spent 2 minutes trying to flank and then get shot in the ass by somebody. That flank can better take you 4, 5, 6 minutes and actually get you into the position to do whatever you wanted to do. Placing down the AT gun is primarily a defensive measure. The same goes essentially for the anti-tank mines. Both these weapons, and especially the anti-tank gun, can deny the enemy entrance to a certain area. The AT mines can essentially only destroy or cripple enemy vehicles, but the AT gun can also be used against infantry. You could view your AT gun as some kind of deployable artillery. The main difference being that with artillery you can't really see what you're shooting, whereas with the AT gun you can actually see what you're shooting at. Just remember, when shooting it, it will cost you 5 ammunitions per shot, so try to make them count, and not use them on just one enemy infantry. Now for the placement of anti-tank mines, they quite obviously are only effective if enemy vehicles run over them. So have a good look at your map and decide what is the most likely routes enemy vehicles will take towards any point on the map. Obviously main roads can be the most logical place, because many of these maps in Hell Let Loose are very difficult for vehicles to get through. But also small clearings in bushes, etc. can be a logical place, because a tank or a truck might actually have to go through that area if they are there to get anywhere. Another method I have used in the past, because if you carry these mines you essentially, especially in the American case, lose 2 rockets, is to drop 1 or 2 mines next to or in front or behind that tank, so that if that tank moves after your first shot, the chances of it hitting one of those mines is pretty big, and you will only need 1 shot to take it down. Your rockets can also be used to clear out buildings. Shoot it through a window in which you know there is 1 or more enemies held up, and if you don't need the shots for any enemy vehicles, why not use it to help your team clear out buildings and other areas. And of course, as said before, you can use it to take out enemy spawns if you can't get close enough, or take out enemy repair stations and enemy AT guns. When it comes to those repair stations and AT guns, even if they're not in use, it can help your team if you take them out, if you ever end up in that area for a fight. On a good day, as an anti-tank, I will take down anywhere between 4 and 6, 7, maybe even 8 enemy vehicles. And I'm pretty sure there's guys out there that'll take down more than that. But in any case, being effective as an anti-tank means you have to take your time to get behind enemy vehicles, get behind enemy lines, seek out those enemy vehicles, and make your shots count. I think that pretty much covers the role, so let's quickly recap. Make sure to place down the anti-tank guns in tactical positions and drop those AT mines wherever you can expect enemy vehicles to come passing by. Use any kind of cover that you can, take your time to make your movements, and try to make your shots count as much as possible, so get them square on and preferably up the ass. But most importantly of all, make sure you enjoy this role, because you're gonna see a hell of a lot of big booms. Now, as always, these videos turn out longer than you intended them to, but still I hope you stuck around. Also, I hope it helps you be better equipped to take up the role of anti-tank, or in one of the other roles, help your anti-tank be as effective as possible. I think the better you understand each role in this game, the better you are in helping each other out and actually winning those battles. And as always, if you like the video, leave a like. If there's anything you want to point out about the video, whether it's a question, whether it's a comment on the video, feel free to leave it in the comments. And if you like the video and other videos that I make, remember to hit that subscribe button. And in case you do, also tell me that in the comments. In any case, I will always make sure to respond to all the comments. And all of that being said and done, hope you enjoyed the video, and I'll see you in the next one.